If this is your first time, guys, welcome to the Startup Tank, the climate investor pitch show. We're Shark Tank, Dragon's Den for the world's top climate companies, the ones that really matter, are changing the world and moving it forward. I'm your host, Matt Ward. I run Forward VC. We're an early stage climate syndicate. That means we invest in the top climate companies, pre-seed and seed worldwide across primarily Europe, North America, and Israel. We'll tell you a little bit more about that and some of our portfolio companies later. But you guys come here for the incredible companies and for the other sharks. And we've got some solid ones on the program today. I'll give them a chance to introduce them in a sec, but Matthias with Mighty Capital, we've got Avina with East Ventures, and we've got Tim with ClimatEU. Before we jump into things, a little bit more about the format. So today we've got 5 awesome companies ready to present, which is nice because they'll have 5 minutes each in the tank, followed by Q&A with our investor panelists. And at the end of the night, we'll choose a climate company of the night. They will get the ultimate honor of going down in history. There's no real cash bonuses that come with this, unfortunately, yet. But if you're watching this and you would like to get in front of other top companies, then be sure to reach out because we've got some pretty interesting ones here. Now, before we jump into things, I want to thank Carta by Valbon by Carta. So they're the SPV provider that we love and use at Forward VC. We just made an Israeli battery tech company. We used we used Carta. It's fast, simple, easy way for us to deploy, or for anyone to deploy quickly in SPV. You can cut out the lawyers, the paperwork. It takes a couple minutes to set up. You've got a great team there supporting you with LPs, with taxes, with fundraising, with everything. Or for startups, you can do cap table management and all of that good stuff for HR and benefits to really manage everything from start to finish for startups and VC. Now, it's time to jump into the startup tank. We've got a pretty packed lineup for you guys. So now I'm going to bring in our other investor panelists. I'm going to bring in Matthias Weber, Avina Sugariato. I always got to get at least one name wrong, Avina, and I think I'm sorry, but it's going to be your name. And then we'll bring in Tim Steppe. Avina, do you want to go first, since I probably butchered the name, and tell people a little bit more about you and about East Ventures and what you guys do?
Yeah, sure. Thanks so much, Matt. And hi, everyone. Nice to meet everyone here. Pleasure to be part of the climate tank here. My name is Avina. I'm a partner at East Ventures. We are a sector agnostic venture capital fund based out of Indonesia and Singapore. So we have a Southeast Asia mandate. We manage over $1 billion and that's across the seed and the growth fund. For me, I started my career about 12 years ago, investing across asset classes, essentially in venture capital, private equity, and special situations, and across industries as well. Started to focus on technology in the past several years. And I also cover ESG and impact across East Ventures portfolio and platform as well. So happy to be here and nice to meet everyone here.
Nice to meet you too. Thanks for sharing a little bit more about East Ventures, Avina. Tim, do you want to take things away next and tell us about the platform for all things EU startups?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, first of all, Matt, for having me, having us. Really great to be part of it. Nice to meet you all. My name is Tim, also a bit of a tricky name, Steppich, from Germany. I have a background in venture capital. You looked at the B2B climate tech side for a while, and before that, I was at a venture builder focused at the intersection of AI and climate tech. And now I run a platform called ClimatEU. It's basically an open source platform and online community for all things European climate tech. So basically we connect investors, founders, job seekers. We try to get a bit of a data angle and really get everyone involved. And yeah, just connect the pieces. And this is why we see a lot of decks. We talk to a lot of investors and really curious to hear all the pitches today.
And then we've got Matthias Weber with Mighty Capital.
Hello, good morning and good evening, everybody. I'm very happy to be here. I'm Matthias Weber from Switzerland, so similar to Tim, I also have a little bit a European accent included in my English. Mighty Capital is a Silicon Valley-based venture capital firm. We focus on technology and regulated industries including life sciences and fintech. And within technology, obviously, ClimatEC is also an important element of our focus. Our sweet spot is Series A. And what differentiates us from other venture capital firms is the fact that we have a unique relationship to an organization with the name Products That Count. That's a network of more than 300,000 product managers, and we give exclusive access to our portfolio companies, to these product managers, which allows them to recruit from them, to sell into them, and eventually, when the time is right, we can use this network also to initiate M&A discussions. 2 words about myself. My background is I studied physics in Switzerland and then spent almost an entire career within insurance. I ended my career at Swiss Re as their group chief underwriting officer, moved to the US with my family, and now being here, I've become advisor and board member to several companies and a venture partner of Mighty Capital.
And a little bit more about me and my background. I run Forward VC, early stage climate syndicate. Prior to that, built and sold a couple smaller companies in e-commerce, media, podcasting. I work with a handful of companies on strategy, growth, and product, basically helping them grow and scale faster. And the vision behind the Startup Tank and Forward VC and all that we do is, I was tired of helping D2C and B2B SaaS companies sell more shit. I wanted to help companies that were really moving the world forward, like the companies we have today. Decided to start Forward VC and try to become the most helpful and networked player in the space. That's what we're doing here. We hustle. In the last year, we've connected with 1,000+ funds, incubators, accelerators, and CVCs in the climate space. You can check out that whole database at 4ward, the number 4ward.vc/VC database. You can check it out, download it, find your ideal investors, etc. Enough about me, enough about us. If you want to pitch, we've got upcoming sessions every 2 weeks, thestartuptank.com, yada, yada, et cetera, et cetera. Let's get into the awesome companies of the night. So quick overview again of the format. We'll hand the clock over to the companies. They'll have 5 minutes to pitch with a live screen share, sharing exactly what they're doing. These are all pre-seed to seed companies, possibly up to a pre-series A, but technically we like to go early because that's where the action is at. Speaking of action, a really interesting company that I met. How about we hand things over first and foremost to Taka. Taka, do you gonna tell people a little bit more about what you guys are doing and kind of revolutionizing the world of fertilizer and ag tech?
So the pitch should start now, or?
Yeah, just you can share your screen. You can pop that up there. Let me know when you're ready, and then I will hit the 5-minute clock. And it sounds like you've already practiced, and you should be good to go. Ready to rock?
Just a moment.
No worries.
All right.
Let's do it.
So thank you for the opportunity to present the microalgae is the initial living organism to do the photosynthesis. We take full advantage of. We are TrueAlgae. I'm Taka Kamezawa, Chief Relationship Officer. We are changing the global agriculture. So what is the problem? Synthetic fertilizer price shoot up 300% over the last couple of years. When you apply synthetic fertilizer, 70% is wasted. And then also it emits nitrous oxide. It's much more potent than CO2. So how are we going to solve it? We offer sustainable solution. We have a research evidence to cut down the NPK synthetic fertilizer 75%, but still positive yield. How are we going to do it? We increase through signaling beneficial soil microbe up to 1,000%. Since the plants absorb essential macro and micronutrient, we generate the ROI for farmers up to 18 times. So what are some of the soil microbes that we increase? Azosporium over 200%, we fix the nitrogen. Mycorrhizae is so important, it penetrates plant roots and get the water and all of essential mineral to the plants. I really like the trichoderma. Trichoderma, we increase its proliferation up to 1,000%. Trichoderma break down the organic matters. So how we do it? 75% of the air we breathe is nitrogen. we don't have to apply additional nitrogen. We increase azosporium over 200%, and then we can cut down the synthetic fertilizer. So macronutrient is important, but it's also important the micronutrients. So iron deficiency is a huge problem for global agriculture. 30% of global farmland has IDC issues. Iron is such a critical micronutrient, but plant cannot absorb it. So how are we going to do it? We are the first innovation for solving iron deficiency in 70 years, since 1950s. We increased the siderophore producing bacteria, siderophore transport iron to the plant up to 150%. As a result, we have more iron in the leaves, and our price is competitive, cost 16% less. So what is the magic? As you can see behind is a DODO plant. We cultivate microalgae, but I would like to stress that we are not focusing on biomass. We take out the metabolite that microalgae need to grow. If we apply to the soil, through signaling, it increases beneficial soil microbe. We are ultimate regenerative farm because it's 2 strains of microalgae we bought 4 years ago is still reproducing themselves, and we need a very low inputs. So where we are, we have proven result from a specialty crop like a strawberry to raw crops. We are expanding distributors. We are happy to inform that since we defined the mode of action of our product, we are talking with mid-sized to large agrochemical company for the potential B2B relationship. So what is superior for our product? There are a lot of leading agtech company, People Bio, Kura Bio, Sound Agriculture. They address only nitrogen or nitrogen and potassium. These are macronutrients. But the plants and us humans need 18 macro and micronutrients. We have proven iron, zinc, and manganese uptake. So we are very different. So meet our team. Nathaniel is the CEO. I really wanted to focus on Angela's thesis. She used to work for Martech. Martech is the only successful microalgae company. It was sold $1.1 billion to DSM. She built the same team, our sales team. Pam Malone is, everybody knows in agtech in the US, she sold already 3 companies. So where we are now, where we are now, we raised $6.4 million. We are trying to close a current seed round for $3 million. That's where we are. So, you know, TrueAlgae, we are really changing the global agriculture by taking advantage of the metabolite that microalgae produce. Thank you so much.
Awesome, Taka. Thanks for presenting and sharing. While I bring the other investors in, one quick question I certainly have is, what exactly is your role in the company? Because I didn't see you on the team slide.
So I'm the Chief Relationship Officer. So I'm responsible for fundraising and build the relationship.
Perfect.
So we have about over 100 investors so far.
Very cool. Very cool. Let me bring in everyone. Avina, I would kick things over to you first if you want to take things away. What questions do you have for Taka and TrueAlgae?
TrueAlgae.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Thanks, Taka. It was great learning about the company. I want to learn more about the tractions, you know, how whether the innovations have been sold previously, and if you can share a bit about, you know, price point of our tractions from that perspective.
So we have a growing customer. We are focusing on individual farm to distributor. So it costs about $3 per gallon for us to produce our product, and we sell from $15 to $20.
Okay, and how much have you sold so far?
So we are still in a development stage for defining the product. So for our product sale, it's product market fit, right? So we have a growing revenue. We expect this year around $500,000 of sales.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
But the major breakthrough for us is starting from this year, since we defined our product, you know, signaling soil microbe to work, we are talking with a mid to large scale agrochemical company. That's our target.
What was your previous product? If you've raised 6.4 million so far, it sounds like there's some history.
No, this is my second startup that I involved in. My previous startup was a payment, mobile to mobile payment transfer. So, you know, management team, we have lots of contacts. So most of the investors are coming from our own network of, successful professionals. For example, I don't know, probably international audience, probably some of you might not be familiar. Seth Goldman is the founder of Honesty and also executive chairman of Beyond Meat. Seth is one of those investors in our company.
Are they doing any pilots with the product?
No, because they're focusing on biomass. Actually, microalgae can produce biomass, but our focus is using the metabolite that microalgae needed to grow. So we are focusing on the metabolite, not the actual biomass. So I don't think we'll work with Beyond Meat.
Okay. Matthias, do you have questions for Taka?
Sure, yes. Thank you, Taka. You said very clearly you focus on the metabolites and not on the algae biomass itself. But the question is then, what happens to the algae if they reach the end of their lifetime?
Oh, no, because they constantly reproducing themselves.
Okay.
So what we do is we have already generation 3.0, but this is our original technology. We take out the water half, and then we take out the metabolites, and we also take the biomass. But the density and then we put the water back in. The density of microalgae is such we can harvest our product, which is I can show you this metabolites. 96% water, 4% metabolites. So we are really ultimate regenerative farm because it's microalgae uses photosynthesis. So we have natural sunlight, a little bit of trace mineral, a little bit of CO2, and then they continue to produce our product.
Okay. And are there specific crops where your metabolites are especially beneficial, or does it just work everywhere? And my last question, how does the benefit compare to traditional nitrogen-based fertilizers?
So initially, since our plant is Dover, Florida, we started with a strawberry. So initially the strawberry farm, but the last 2 years, we are trying for raw crops. So strawberry, we recommend bi-weekly application because it has fruits, but soybeans and corn, we apply only twice, and we see the yield increase of over 5%, sometimes 10%. So as long as the plant sit on the soil, since we enhance many beneficial soil microbes, it works. So the difference with a nitrogen fertilizer is that instead of applying additional synthetic fertilizer, we take the completely different way. For example, 75% of the air we breathe is nitrogen. If we increase the azosporium, they will fix the nitrogen for the plants. So we take the very different approach. And some of our other competitors, like People Bio, they apply microbe who fix the nitrogen, but there's already existing microbe in the soil. Why we don't help them to do their work instead of applying additional, the synthetic fertilizer or the iron? Earth is made up of iron. Why you apply additional chelated iron? You don't have to do it. You don't have to mine. Instead, we should help increase the siderophore producing bacteria, which transport iron to the plant.
How large were those studies that you did that had the 5 and 10% yield increases, and what crops were they specifically?
Oh, so it's across soybeans, strawberries, and we can share those data. And if you look at our website, in the resource pages, we publish all our data. So we are very transparent.
And how do costs compare to synthetic fertilizer? And then I'll hand things over to Tim.
It's significant because it's instead of applying additional synthetic fertilizer, we can cut down those synthetic fertilizers. So some of for the farmers, it's very courageous to switch it or reduce it. But this is anecdotal evidence. For the strawberry farmer that we are working with, I understand they cut down the synthetic fertilizer usage by 25%. But yield increase alone will pay off our product.
Sorry.
No, you're good, Tim.
All right, cheers. So thanks so much for the pitch, Taka. Super interesting. Maybe a bit of a two-folded question. One is you had a little comparison with the competitors, and I know like sustainable fertilizers is a huge market. I think especially in the US, it's growing a lot. So I'm just curious, is no one else using a similar approach to what you're doing? And then secondly, what's the substitute? Like what's currently being used, and why will millions or hundreds and thousands of farmers use your solution instead of the others? Like why will this be the next big thing, and why will this really scale in comparison to the sustainable solutions that are out there?
So our direct competitor is called Helier. So they cultivate microalgae, but what they do is they pasteurize it. So we don't do it. So they kill microalgae and also kill probably metabolites, but still has an effect. So our approach is completely different. We filter out, and the final product is metabolites that microalgae grow in. So, and what was your second question?
Oh, it's basically, the first one, like if the approach is different, and then the second one with the different approaches that exist. I mean, I'm sure there's also some good alternatives for sustainable fertilizer. Is there like a certain edge that this method has over others that are currently being used? Like, why is it like on a price or on a sustainability, or where's like the selling proposition?
I mean, there are a number of great benefits for a product. First of all, like soybeans and row crops, only apply twice. It doesn't cost much per acre. We can consistently increase 5% or sometimes double digit. So yield increase alone, it makes sense. And since our product doesn't have any carbon or anything, we can mix with anything, fungicide, anything, you name it. And probably one of the benefits of our technology is, since the plants absorb all the macro and micronutrients, we can extend the shelf life for strawberry for 1 week. I mean, this is not necessarily beneficial for the farmers, but this is one of the benefits. And also, we are data driven, so we have to prove it. But we believe that we have an effect of a drought, for example, to fight, because it's the plants has more diverse and more abundant fungi community. It's going to help them to absorb water and also absorb the nutrients.
Right. And what's the kind of ideal investor that you're looking for? Like someone who leads? Or?
No, I think we really need somebody who understands the climate aspect of it. We really wanted to do more research on this. So since we are really discovering the new science of soil interaction with metabolites, we have to do a lot of R&D. So we are looking for investors who want to take our technology to address the climate change. So that's very important. So it's only one data point, but for me, it's really significant. Last year, we did the organic soybean trial, only 2 applications of product, and they experienced significant drought. Yield difference was 60%. So we have a possibility of using our product as insurance purposes. Farmer, you don't know what's going to happen for your yield, but if you apply twice, you might mitigate the negative impact of climate change. But we really have to prove it. So we really need to do more research and development in this area.
Do you have IP?
Oh yes, model production and use of our technology product in the soil. We apply to as well. So sometimes we have very good result, like mycorrhizae fungi actually has 450 million years of give and take relationship. They penetrate the plant roots and they absorb all these important nutrients, including water, and then they receive the carbon out of photosynthesis, like 40%, because it's so important. They have mutually beneficial relationship lasted 450 million years. We enhance those. So it's incredible technology we have.
It's very cool. It's very cool. Thanks for sharing, Taka. Does anybody else have any last questions? Okay, then I would move things along and
thank you so much.
Yes, I thank you to Taka for a great presentation and what you're doing. And we've got things on the food and the sustainability side of things. How about we pass the ball over now to Jerome with Palau Project, who's trying to bring sustainability into not just how we farm, but how we eat and how we decide specifically what the things are that we consume. Do you want to take things away, Jerome? I'll give you a 1-minute warning once you are on the clock.
Perfect. Can you hear me well?
Hear you loud and clear. Just waiting for your screen to be up and live.
Is it not up?
It's Slack right now.
Right, my bad. Wait one sec.
And while everyone's
Messy.
listening, this is the Startup Tank. If you haven't subscribed already, we're on all your major podcasting platforms, or if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, the bell, etc., to make sure you don't miss any of our upcoming sessions. Now, without further ado, I'm going to hand things over to Jerome, and I think Palau, I'm pronouncing it. I don't
Palau,
know.
It's good.
Awesome. Then take
Thanks
it away.
a lot, Matt. All right, great. So I like to start always by giving you a little bit of introduction of why we're doing. Well, let me just quickly get this out of the way because it will get into the way. Sorry for that. So I always like to start by giving you a little bit of context why we started, and it's how the food we eat impact our planet. 90% of large fish have disappeared from the ocean due to overfishing. 3/4 of all deforestation is linked to agriculture, and 1/3 of the global pollution is linked to the food industry. So the food industry is to blame, but it is the one that has the most opportunity for change. And why is this change going so slow? Because sustainability is bullshit. It's such a big concept in our world right now, and yet most of the time just used as a marketing tool. That's possible because us, the consumers, have no idea what is good or bad for the planet. And until now, there's never really been a way to measure sustainability. But the cool thing here is thanks to the digitalization of supply chain, this is moving super fast. We found a formula that we can help the average consumer reduce their impact up to 70%. The first thing we did is creating a scanning tool where users can scan food products and see the environmental impact of the supply chain, such as CO2 emissions, effect on biodiversity loss, as well as nutritional values. If the product has a bad impact, the user receives alternatives. Then we also let the user calculate their own diet's impact and see the yearly carbon footprint, annual water usage, and annual land usage. And the cool thing here is that if the user will receive personalized action depending on their diet. So now that we've given the user the tools, we're working on gamifying the process and making it fun for them so they can get inspired to tackle climate change. We launched about 6 months ago, and we realized one main thing. Everyone wants to be good for the planet, but convenience goes first. I always like to put myself as an example. I always like Nutella in the morning, and the alternative has to be as tasty as Nutella if I'm going to change it. So that's how we answer the question, get asked the most. How do we plan to make money? Well, we found a way for the consumer to buy sustainable with minimal effort. With all the aggregate data we collect, such as taste and health preference from their diet, we can tailor a food basket and show how much impact they've reduced every time they buy through the app. We then charge a commission of 3 to 5%. And then you might ask, why would a seller join this marketplace? The first thing is because they will be obliged by the European Union to provide life cycle assessment of their products by 2024. This gives us a 2-year head start, and we have all the aggregate data they need. And then the second thing is that for a sustainable seller, it's really hard to stand out between all the greenwash. I'll keep it simple for the market. 30% of European consumers deeply care about sustainability, and there's been an increase of 13% in the last year. Now, about our competitors, we like to set ourselves nice in the middle. We provide the efficient tech tool that the nutritional apps provide, but we also provide that emotional satisfaction of saving the planet. It is very important for you to know that we don't aim just to be an app. We aim to be a movement led by the consumers on fighting climate change. A bit about our traction. We have 20 to 30 organic downloads a day, 10,000 scans, and a few fun facts. We grew to 700 weekly active users in Portugal. We don't have any connection to Portugal, and we're not doing any marketing. So it's just truly grow mouth to mouth. And we have a few TikTok videos that have more than 500,000 views, just explaining our product. So it's very cool to see the generation set loving the solution. We have 20 to 50 returning users per day and 32% of week-on-week retention after week 4. So a bit about ourselves. We're 1 year old, 1 year and 5 months old. We got finalists at Food for Future between 3,000 startups. We got invited at BNU as top 8 startups. We presented even in front of the Spanish king, which was a weird experience. We also received a subsidy from the Belgian government, and we are also part of the main accelerator in Belgium. This is our team. I always like to say that we have a very big team when there's no waves and a very small team when the nature is providing. This means that we're all nature lovers. Jade is a senior consultant, and Toby left a big corporate to join us as product manager. Then about our founding team, my co-founder, he's the accepted nerd, too smart for his own good, but he's the reason why we managed to build this app and get out this far with almost no budget. Then I'm about to show you one of my favorite slides. I really love the face of investors when they read this. It is very important for you to know that we aim to be a unicorn startup, but we're mission driven first. And this is the amount of money that we're raising, mainly to improve our growth and tech team. And I always like to finish by saying, if you're ready to become a drifter and join this wave full of pollution, till there's no more pollution in our ocean, then you're ready to join us. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing what you guys are doing. Obviously super early, but have some interesting organic traction and quite something that you're trying to build. This time I would kick things over to Tim first to take it away. Tim, do you have any questions for the team?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, coming from the AI venture builder perspective, I'm obviously super curious how you guys get the data, how you make sure it's actually accurate, what source did you get it from? Like, maybe you can walk me through that.
Perfect. So there's two ways of collecting the data. One is that the manufacturer does a life cycle assessment of their product, which costs around 8,000 euros to do. And there's about 4 organizations in Europe that are capable of doing this scientific wise. And then if the manufacturer doesn't provide the information, then we do an estimation depending on the ingredients and origin of ingredients, as well as packaging and labels. So that's the way we managed to scale the database to 2.2 million products. And it's a estimation process, but quite accurate if you compare it to do the life cycle assessment. And why I like this model so much is that if we can really push it to make it more transparent, because if the manufacturer is not happy about the result, then they just have to do the life cycle assessment, and then we'll provide the full information.
All right. And are these, just to get it clear, so do you have to approach the manufacturers, or are these like public resources, or do you go like one by one?
It's a consortium of different companies, and we all collect the data. For example, let's say one of our users scanned a product not found. We request that we add it there to the database. If the manufacturer doesn't provide anything, then we do the estimation depending on the ingredients.
All right, cool. And then the entire ordering. So if I understood correctly, you order through the app, right? The products, and then you then send the orders to the manufacturers, or does it run via supermarkets, or how do you do that?
The marketplace that we're trying to create is still in a further stage. Right now, we only focused on user base, and the way we plan to do that is that the user buys through the app, and that the operations is handled by the partner, by the seller. It's a very similar model as Too Good To Go. I don't know if you ever heard about that app, or Vivino as well has the same business model.
All right, cool. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Vina, you are up next.
Thanks, Jerome. I think very exciting movement right there you leading. I think Tim asked about how you calculate the carbon, right, on the products. I think you showed as well in terms of carbon footprint for the customers, the people. I was wondering how you do that. And then second question from me is, which countries do you operate in at the moment, and where are you planning to go next?
Perfect. Thank you very much. So the way the user calculates their footprint is by answering a few questions. Takes about a minute. Just what type of food they eat, their diet, and amount of type of food they eat per day. And then we can calculate an estimation for the whole year. We do it for carbon footprint, water usage, and land usage. And then from there on, we let them take action. So we show them the products that they should change, the recipes they can follow, and we sort of try to personalize their user journey on being better with the climate. And then the way the app already is in the whole Europe, the database works the most in Belgium, France, Spain, Portugal. I would say out of 5 products you scanned, you will find 3 products. And then in other countries such as Holland, UK, and a bit more of the Nordic countries, it works a bit worse. There's about maybe 2 out of 5 products you can scan.
Okay, interesting. Follow-up question on the water and land usage. What kind of questions you ask to calculate the water and land usage, and kind of how to mitigate or reduce the climate impact from there?
So the questions that get asked is how much meat do you eat a day, how much chicken do you eat a day. It's just a couple of questions of the diet, and then from there on we go look into the database that has all the ingredients, and then make an estimation from there.
Okay, got it.
Matthias?
Yeah, Jerome, thank you. Two questions from my side, and I asked both at the beginning. First, I did not fully understand how you get paid. You mentioned the 3 to 5% commission. So let's assume I use your app. I really like Nutella, but your app tells me don't buy Nutella, Matthias, buy apple from the local farmers market instead. Let's assume I do that. How do you get your 3 to 5%? And it's 3 to 5% on what? And second question, I download your app, I use it once, and then I lose interest. How do you make sure that this does not happen?
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll start with the first one. So the user journey will be that you, since we know all your information, we'll tell you, look, this is what you want to buy. We'll change it to this alternatives, and this is how much CO2 emissions you will reduce, how much water footprint you would have in land usage. And the way we collaborate with our partners is that with local partners, let's say the way we are planning to do is with Belgium, collaborate with Peter Pot. I don't know if you ever heard about them. It's sort of a gorillas, but without plastic. And it's about redirecting them to the seller. So it's just a marketplace. We just charge a market fee, which is a 2 to 5% commission, and then the logistics and all the operations behind it is done by the partner. So we just make a food basket for you. We'll show you how much CO2 emissions you've reduced just by switching to a few alternatives, and then let you buy it through the app. And then, sorry.
Is there potentially a kind of climate conflict if I go to the store to buy something and I see something and scan it, and then it says, actually, no, it's more climate efficient for us to ship this from some warehouse that's not right where you are already? Does that potentially have an actual worse consequences?
Yeah, it will be hard to do this with the current database that we have, and the logistics behind it. I mean, it's not, I don't really see it feasible that one specific product that you will buy through the app. It's more about the whole food basket. So it will be more about showing what do you buy at the supermarket, and then we show you what can change in a whole, not just product by product. I don't know if that answers your question.
So is the use case that I go to the store and fill out my basket and then scan everything, or is the use case I go to the store and I'm not sure about something and I scan a product?
So that's a utility on the app, but that's not where we're gonna earn the money from. It will be from personalizing and recommending what you should buy for next week. So with the recipes you follow, the engagement you had through the app, we can personalize and recommend you what products you should buy, and then you buy it through the app. But like, for example, if you scan a food product at the supermarket, we'll just show you the impact and the alternatives that are the best in your region. But that's not where you're gonna buy the product through. It will be through the whole engagement process of knowing what you like and what you don't like.
I feel like you have to do a lot of retrofitting to find a way to have a business model that works there, instead of going more for the functionality of what you're trying to accomplish, which is helping consumers reduce, and then having potentially a different business. I mean, a different business model potentially, just as a thought, could be you're an affiliate for whichever of the grocery deliveries or grocery kind of made for you meal kits are the most efficient, and you're just substituting for set things as opposed to having different retailers and different places you have to work with. It seems, I don't know if I'm the only one who thinks that. It seems kind of like trying to duct tape a business model onto a different business or product.
Yeah, we looked at different types of business models, like such as subscriptions and more simple type of business models. But at the end, the mission and the goal is to help consumers buy with minimal effort, and it's really about your health and taste preference that goes first when you're going to decide to buy sustainable. So it's really the goal that you will be able to buy everything without having to worry that it's sustainable or not. You just focus on your taste and health, and we make sure that you've got the most sustainable possible for your taste and health preference through the app. So that's it's the business model that's most aligned to our mission. But it's true, it's more complex than focusing on something more of a simple business model.
Understood. Could also look at freemium and then having a pro version where you have nutrition tips and other things built in just as a possibility. Yeah, someone else is posting in the chat as well. They're not sure 3 to 5% of a take is going to be enough for a real business in a marketplace that has payment gateway fees, etc.
Yeah, we tend to charge 3 to 5% to the partner, and then a small flat fee to the consumer as well. So at the end, it will be around 9.5% gross margin. If you look at Too Good To Go, which does a similar business model, they have around 5 to 15% business model. And at the end, for us, it will be really depending on the partner. If it's going to be a local market, then we'll have to adapt our commission to them. If it's going to be a huge retailer, which commissions are much smaller, then we have to adapt to them as well.
Too Good To Go is a little different as well, though, because that's bringing in supplementary income they wouldn't already have. These are products that they could normally sell in the store. They can't sell in the store then. This is Too Good To Go's food that they're not allowed to sell anymore. Just as food for thought, so to speak.
Yeah.
I think sorry. I think like what Too Good To Go doesn't have, what you guys are kind of building, is like the potential for like a viral product, and thereby the data access to what does Gen Z actually buy, what are their buying habits, and where are they looking for alternatives. And so maybe it's like a data play where you give them insights. Maybe it's actually the actual ordering. But I think if you manage to build that viral product, then I'm sure that eventually you'll nail your business model. Like if you just stick close to these companies, the retailers, the manufacturers, and you find kind of what they're looking for, like data-wise, I'm sure that there's just like food for thought. I'm sure there's a really good case.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we really focused on really satisfying the user needs and user base on creating that viral product, which we're kind of slowly seeing great progress on because we're really solving a problem.
Amen. I would keep it free as long as you can and just get data and grow, because you don't need the money, and the money's going to be meaningless at the beginning with how much you would make in transactions anyways.
Yeah, maybe eventually it becomes this white label for retailers that, like other build like these B2B SaaS tools for banks, where you can calculate your footprint based on your purchases. They also collect a bunch of data. They kind of build the tech infrastructure. Maybe that's something, but yeah, I'm sure there's a good model there.
Or they can show you what you would save in climate savings plus price if you swapped it for the store brand as opposed to the name brand, or all kinds of other cool little features. Jerome, thanks for presenting. Thanks for what you guys are doing. We've had a bit of a kind of food theme so far. Let's take it to the ultimate other end of the spectrum. How about we hand things over to Glenn with Brain for You? Glenn is doing some interesting stuff in optimizing energy usage, which is definitely going to become more and more of a topic this winter, as we have a major energy crisis brewing in the world. The Ukraine war, Germany's about to freeze, and Europe's in for a tough one. Glenn's doing some interesting stuff to save energy while also keeping people comfortable in their buildings. Glenn, do you want to take things away and tell a little bit more about what you're doing?
Thank you. Sorry, give me 1 second to. Okay, let's start. So let me introduce my technology.
Your pitch deck's not there, in case you think it is. Just FYI.
Okay, sorry for that.
No worries at all. I like to say technology is great, except when it sucks, but it's good to go now. And we've got some cool technology here to share.
Okay, thank you. So Brain for Energy is a smart controller for large buildings that reduce energy consumption and carbon footprint of buildings by up to 30% or 40% without any building retrofitting. Why is important? Buildings are responsible for 40% of global carbon emissions, and landlords face a pressure from government and financial institutes that forces them to reduce energy consumption and carbon footprint. Current way to reduce carbon footprint is building retrofitting that is costly and time-consuming and may cause operational pauses and income losses. Brain4Energy offers a CapEx-free software solution that reduces energy consumption by up to 40%. And how Brain4Energy works? First, you need to connect your building to our cloud. Then we take all the data from your building management system, data like about temperature, aerostatic pressure, data from parameters, methods, data about CO2 levels, so on and so forth. And based on this data, we built a predictive model of the building in completely automatic way. And then we use this predictive model to optimally control the HVAC system of the building in order to keep comfort inside and minimize power consumption, carbon footprint. And we take into account weather conditions, energy prices, occupancy to provide more precise operations. Our business model is annual subscription. Average price per average price per square foot is about 10 cents per square foot annually. And we found that we sold our portfolio of the buildings, so average service fee is about $1 million annually. And we estimate our lifetime is about 12 years. So our lifetime value is more than $10 million. The US market of green building technologies is about $95 billion and grows year to year more than 10%. And part connected with HVAC equipment is about $31 billion. The global market is several times bigger. We try different strategies, and we found that two strategies works well for us. First, selling through partners networks is so companies that also serve a large portfolio of buildings. And second one is the selling through smart building platforms. So we can act as a plugin for smart building platforms. And going the second way, we have managed to achieve some success. We signed our first contract, which includes 200 buildings, 80 million square foot total. And this contract will bring us about $165,000 this year and about $1 million next year. And this way, we are preparing the next contract with one of the biggest real estate companies in New York.
1 minute warning.
Let's go about competitors. We can provide the same level of savings like our best competitors, but we are focusing on very fast and simple onboarding process. So we can onboard a new building in 3 days right now, comparing with several weeks competitors. So let me introduce my team. I and my co-founder Jacob, we have been working together more than 10 years. In the last 7 years, we specialize on artificial intelligence and machine learning in heavy industry, in predictive maintenance and so on. And Alex Saltykov is our advisor.
Time is up. I'm sorry. How much money are you guys looking to raise? Which round is this for you guys?
Okay, it's seed round and we are raising $3 million. We have some commitments and our goal to create a scalable sales pipeline next year.
Very cool. Very cool. Let me bring in all of the invest. So you've got 200 buildings potentially in the pipeline then? Is that right? while I'm bringing in the other
yeah,
investors.
in signed contract. We have 200 buildings in current contract. Yeah, and we have projection on next 60 buildings.
And what would that be for you guys revenue wise if you were to close all of those? Didn't you say $1 million a building?
We should receive in this our revenue should be about 165,000 this year and about 1 million next year.
Very good, very good. Matthias, do you want to kick things off?
Yeah, happy to do so. Glenn, thank you very much for your presentation. I have a few questions. The first question is your software and the use of it. Is it BMS agnostic, or does it work only in combination with some BMSs? Second question, I'm a little bit surprised by, I always thought a good BMS already does what your software is doing. Is this a wrong assumption on my side? And maybe related to it, in case it's a wrong assumption, how do you make sure that the BMSs don't include what your software is doing as a feature in the BMS, and then you're no longer necessary? And last question, your traction, the 200K, with whom is it? And is it a pilot, or is it already recurring revenue?
Okay. First question about, yeah, our solution is fully BMS agnostic. We can connect to the BMS API, and we can connect to underlying protocols like BACnet, Modbus, or PCOS, and so on and so forth. So now we also have installations on Johnson Controls, on Honeywell, on Siemens, on Schneider Electric BMSs. So it's fully BMS agnostic solution. About second question, yeah, it's an interesting point because I was sure that all BMSs also have such solutions, but current solutions highly depend on sensor configuration in the building. So if you would like to install some solution from Schneider, you should install first a lot of sensors and a temperature sensors, CO2 sensors, and so forth. And it's a differentiator between us and BMS vendors. We don't require installation of a lot of sensors. We prefer to work with existing equipment, and we recommend to install some sensors, some additional sensors, some additional hardware, also in the cases that it is completely necessary. So we can start with, we can work with a lot of different configurations of equipment. And if, for example, you choose Schneider, you need to comply with very strict requirements from Schneider in terms of hardware, and it's very costly. Oh. And excuse me, third question.
It's the traction. Is it recurring already?
Yeah,
pilot?
Yeah, it's recurring. It's recurring revenue. Yeah. Our business model is an annual subscription, so we receive recurring revenue every year.
Can you share with whom it is?
Excuse me.
Can you share who is your client that provides you with the recurring revenue right now?
You can share it off. You can share it off show as well if you want to share it separately with Matthias.
Yeah,
if that's
I can share, but I am not sure that. Probably I should ask permission from client.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Good answer. Good answer. Pivoting off of that, how did you get the clients? So what's been your sales process? What's the average sales cycle look like? How long does it take? How do you close?
Honestly, we are just developing our right sales process. We have, and most of our current connections with potential clients are from VAR network, from us and our advisor, some of our partners. So our process is usually following. We investigate if like energy reduction is important for our client, and after that we start a pilot project. Usually we need 3 or 4 months to prove our savings, and after that we sign a contract. So it's current sales cycle.
So if it's been mostly your network, how do you plan to scale that aggressively once you raise funding?
First of all, we right now we have started. We also have started outreach company, and we have managed to achieve some success in terms of communication with potential partners. We are in negotiations with different potential partners, and probably we will start at least 2 pilots this year. So it's first like channel is outreach marketing, and we are planning to start online advertising company. And my previous background is digital advertising, so I have skills to generate leads online. So I think it's doable. We received several leads from LinkedIn, from our site. So I believe we can enforce this process. I'm not sure that it should be one channel, but yeah. So,
and one last question before I hand things over. Is there any CapEx associated for buildings? Is this just AI going into their existing systems, like the building management systems mentioned, or do you need to add anything else there for monitoring?
Yeah, perfect question. For New York City market, for example, we can deploy our software in pure like software way, without any retrofitting, without any additional equipment, in 50% of buildings. And other buildings require a small upgrades, but it's not hundreds, thousands of dollars, not millions, maybe thousands of tens of thousands of dollars.
Okay, understood. Avina, do you have any questions for Glenn and the team?
Yes. Okay. I think my first question, if you can walk through the existing technology, basically that you're replacing. Would love to learn more about that. Whether you have an IP for your existing, innovations that you have now, and what are the main challenges essentially. So I think I asked a number of questions there, but maybe I start with that, and I have quite a number of other questions as well.
Okay. So about technology, we decided that we should base all our software develop all our technology on AI, on machine learning, to have ability to easily adjust all models, all our software to new buildings. All buildings have different equipment, different data channels, different sensors, so on and so forth. And if you want to easily install such software on every building, you need self-adjusted software. You need something that will be will be connect to the building, take all data, mark up them, and train themselves in fully automatic way. So we have developed our machine learning models in the way that we can investigate data and train themselves and adopt themselves to every new building without any manual work. It's our key feature in terms of technology. About challenges, main challenge is the people. We constantly face with a very conservative approach from chief engineers. They are people that like to work in such manner, install and forgot. So if some equipment was installed many years ago, this equipment worked with all these years in the same way, in the same mode. But usually it's not optimal mode. It's extremely not optimal mode. But for chief engineers of the buildings, it's okay. And it's a main challenge to show them that something can be done in different way. And after that, to prove them that our controlling our operation is safe and secure and wouldn't cause any issues, any problems, and so on. So it requires usually piloting phase.
Okay, how do you convince them, that's the case? I think I do see that challenge across many solutions related to energy efficiency, whether it's energy efficiency. I think the other one is clean energy monitoring, for example. How do you convince, the likes of Schneider to essentially connect TrueAlgae with your solution?
Yeah, it takes time, but first of all, we usually say, let's try, let me show you. So let's do the pilot. And during the pilot, you can communicate, you can convince, you can show the value from our solution. And we offer them something like that. Install our software and you can leave your work in time. Because it's not only operations, not only controlling, it's a constant monitoring for the whole HVAC infrastructure. We can find leaks, we can find any broken sensors, broken pipes, broken valves, detects and creates a reporting about any issues in the whole building infrastructure. And it's very important for and very valuable for chief engineers. And yeah, after some time of operation, we can decrease the efforts to do the job.
Okay, my last question. Okay, sorry. With the 3 million you're raising, how much revenue are you targeting next year and the next 2 years?
We are planning to have about $3 million of revenue at the end of the next years, and then grows at least 100% year to year.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Tim, I think you're up.
Yes, sorry. I think you had to answer a lot of questions already, so I'm going to try to stick to one. For me, like the main interest is like, what is the one key that really sets you apart? Like, is it like the technology? So because in the end, if I'm understanding correctly, you connect to the data that is already there, and you make use of that data, right? And you help them analyze and understand. Kind of, I don't know if it's via AI, if I understood correctly. So how do you, like, what's your unfair advantage in comparison to everyone else? Because if I'm a company that's already, I don't know, for example, connected to all the buildings, like let's say I build elevators, so I already have the connections to all the real estate companies. I have the connections, and then I just hire really, really amazing data scientists, and they build a software. Like, how can you kind of compete with that? How do you set yourself apart?
About competition. There are a lot of players on the market, as I see. There are a lot of completely ineffective buildings. We came to the first 30 buildings from our contract, and what we see that there are no just simple steps to reduce energy consumption. So there are a lot of efforts to do something like smart controlling of some equipment, and but all these things are implemented in very new buildings. But you know, most of the buildings are old in this world, and we can improve old buildings without any hardware retrofitting, because hardware retrofitting is a huge headache for landlords, for contractors, for vendors. Nobody likes that. And we can improve the energy efficiency of existing buildings in very simple way. Just install small software gateway, put all your data in our cloud, and receive command in real time, receive command to your equipment, take your savings.
Thank you.
It's very easy and instead of working with big vendors.
Are there any network effects or moats? So does your data and algorithms get better the more buildings you have in the system? Or is that going to be very building and location specific?
The state, all buildings are different, and our algorithms can adapt themselves to any building, and we have the single code base. We have the single software, but it can work on any building and adopt themselves to each building.
No, I get that. What I was wondering is if it gets smarter with each building, and it sounds like it doesn't.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So, for instance, if you had 1,000 buildings, would your system be X% better than someone else who started this?
I understand. Thank you. Yes, in some way, yes, but it's not so important. There are no network effects as in, like in social nets. So we don't need to be installed on thousands of buildings to be extremely efficient in terms of controlling and providing savings.
And there's no IP other than your kind of trade secret algorithms. Is that right?
We have like patent application on the part of our algorithms, but mostly it's a combination of approaches from open articles. My previous background is I'm scientist, I'm physicist. So when I started this business, first I like collect all existing information about optimal controlling, and yeah, we create a combination of best algorithms that work well on practice.
Why not just license that to the big players then? If they've already got the buildings and you've got the algorithms.
I'm not sure that if I correctly understand the question, but I believe that's no issues with licensing. We created we don't create and don't use open software, open realization. We create our own realization of algorithms that were published in open press, open scientific articles.
No, I understood that. I meant it might be interesting if there's already players that are serving these markets or have BMSs or other systems, rather than trying to come in and sell to those existing systems or other ones. Just allow them to integrate your system into theirs in a white label or whatever process.
Yeah, we are in negotiation with some of them. We have meetings with Honeywell and Schneider Electric, but they decided that we are too early for like some type of acquisition or white labeling, and so
okay, understood.
Provided, yeah.
Good, then at least the communication lines are open. Well then, Glenn, if nobody else has any other questions, I would say thanks for presenting. And anything else, guys? Looks like Tim's got a question.
Oh no, it was just me applauding.
Zoom, you never know what any of those things mean. Okay, applause all around for all the startups so far. And now we're a little bit over halfway. It's a good time to take a pause and say, if this is your first time, or if you don't know what exactly is going on here, this is the Startup Tank, the Climate Investor Pitch Show. We're Shark Tank, we're Dragon's Den, of course, not infringing on any trademarks of any kind. We're the Startup Tank, but we're helping climate companies get great exposure and get in front of top investors like the folks you're seeing here. We do this twice a month. Twice a week would kill me. Generally Mondays, 5 p.m. CET. You can subscribe either at thestartuptank.com, on all your favorite podcasting platforms. If you're on YouTube, just thestartuptank.com/YouTube, hit the subscribe button, Apple, Spotify, you name it. And this is all brought to you guys by Forward VC and our Climate Syndicate. We invest and we allow accredited investors to invest in the top companies around the world, the top climate companies that are transforming the world, that really have large real world lasting implications. Doesn't have to be hardware, but it does have to have a big impact on the climate and the planet. Pre-seed and seed, Europe, North America, and Israel is our focus. For more details, visit 4ward, so the number 4ward.vc. So we invest in companies that move the world forward. And this is brought to you guys by Valbon, by Carta, who we love and use for our SPVs when we're setting up investments like the largest we've done to date with our Israeli battery tech company, Exion. We used Carta. They help us set it up fast and easy so that our LPs can get on board, do the AYC, do the AYC KML. I can't even talk right now. I woke up way too early this morning. Get on board and do all of the processes, decide for companies they want to invest in, deploy capital, get into some of the hottest and most interesting deals, and then manage the SPV over the course of the SPV's lifetime. If you're not familiar with an SPV, or you're looking to be a syndicate investor or raise your own kind of round for your startup, Valbon by Carta might be a great way to do that. Forward.vc, against the number 4, Ward.vc. My name's Matt Ward. It's great when you can have your ego and name in the title. Forward.vc/Carta, CARTA. For more details, tell them that we sent you so they'll keep supporting us and help us keep the lights on. And speaking of keeping the lights on, I think we've got a pretty cool company here that we can dive into. DODO, not exactly keeping the lights on, but helping businesses that need to keep the lights on get loans and unlock sustainable finance. Jack, do you want to take things away and tell us a little bit more about your company, what you guys are doing?
Yes, indeed. And yeah, thank you very much for having me on, and pleasure to get to speak with you today. So with DODO, we are targeting the green lending market. So green loans are loans that help companies access cheaper rates on their loans that they use if they first measure and reduce their emissions. So today, this is a £500 billion market, but by the end of the decade, it's looking to be worth over £50 trillion alone. So I'm Jack. I'm one of the co-founders of DODO, and today I want to share with you the 2 problems that banks are facing with this market. The first is that banks can only issue green loans to small businesses that have measured their emissions. And the second is that small businesses account for 1 in every 3 loans, but only 10% are measuring their emissions today. So this is a massive opportunity that banks and the financial sector are missing out on, given the size of the lending and SME market. At DODO, our mission and our vision is to help banks to actually unlock the green loan market for their small business customers. So how does that work and how do we do it? To start, we make it very easy for small businesses to share their data with us. So through a secure API, they can connect their accounting software directly to our platform. We've integrated with over 20 accounting tools today, and that gives us everything that we need to measure their emissions. Now, using that financial data, we're converting over 1,500 expenses every minute to give banks a fast and accurate view of all of their small business customers' emissions to date. And as a start for a bank, the first benefit they receive for that is it helps them to streamline their ESG reporting, to save them costs and save them time around that process, which is incredibly tricky today, and particularly with the incoming regulation that exists. However, we want to go beyond just carbon reporting, and we're introducing our green lending marketplace for banks to interact with their small business customers. So using the exact same data, we can help small businesses to access very tailored, personalized loans based on their carbon footprint and help them to access loans at a cheaper rate for the first time. There are benefits for both banks and small businesses. For banks, we help them to reduce the cost of their emissions reporting. We also help them to access a new market in small business green lending. And for SMEs, they get a way to measure their entire company's carbon footprint, to understand where they need to start reducing those emissions, and also access green loans at a cheaper rate. And we're targeting 2 of the fastest growing markets. The enterprise carbon accounting market is just worth over £11 billion, while the green loan market is worth over £500 billion today. And we plan to tackle that market in 2 ways. The first is with our business model. We generate our revenue directly from banks and make our product free for small businesses to use. And the second strategy is with our go-to-market. Once we've onboarded a banking customer, they invite all of their small businesses to our platform, where we can start to upsell green loans in the future to generate additional referral fees from small businesses. And we're a team experienced in the lending and enterprise products. We brought on our first hire, Ricardo, who was previously the CTO at a supply chain reporting platform. My co-founder, Chaba, has over 14 years of experience. He's twice been the CTO at tech companies and recently launched his own B2B VAT reporting platform. And I've previous experience in the lending market, having been the first hire at Portify, where we helped over 300,000 gig workers to access interest-free credit. We have launched our product and it is generating revenue in the market today. So we've helped over 100 small businesses to measure their emissions, processing over £40 million of transactions. And
1 minute warning.
measuring over 24,000 tons of CO2. We're also entering into 2 pilots with 2 banks, one in the UK and one globally. And we've also built up our own pipeline of enterprise companies looking to use our platform. Our next milestone is to launch our green loans product into the market alongside our banking customers, so that we can help the 200 million small businesses globally to measure their emissions and access green loans at a cheaper rate. Thank you very much.
And thank you very much. Let me bring in our awesome investor panelists and hand things over. This time, Matthias, do you want to take things away? Or Matthias or Matthias? I'm not entirely sure.
Matthias.
Matthias, ich sollte das wissen. Okay.
Oh, sehr gut.
Yeah.
Okay, Jack. So thank you very much for your presentation. Let me fire a couple of questions so that it's easier for you to pack them into the story when you answer it. So is this about the direct emissions of an SME, or does it include the whole supply chain? I assume it includes the whole supply chain. If it does, how do you get the data? From whom do you get it? What type of data do you get? How do you deal with the fact that global supply chains are intransparent? And there are actors in the supply chain that make money from the intransparency, which are probably not helping you at all. Could you talk a little bit about this, please?
Yes, and thank you for the question on that as well. I think it's a very, very interesting topic. So I think to answer the first question, we do deal with not just a small company's direct energy and fuel usage, but also their entire supply chain. The way that we tackle that is first using a method called the spend-based method. If you've come across it before, which just it says, okay, we know how much they spent on a given category. We use an open source database to then convert that into emissions. So it's the version which gives us the least insight. But for us, it's important, and for small businesses, one of the key blockers is actually getting started. So for us, we allow them to cover 100% of their emissions at a less rate of accuracy within that. We then look at over time how we can then ask them for direct product usage. So rather than using the spend base, we can ask them how much kilos of a product that they've purchased in their supply chain or used. And going even further over time, we're looking at how they can actually invite their own suppliers into the platform to provide their own emissions data, so that we can understand exactly what that purchase was and how much that equates in terms of emissions for that supplier. So I've said sort of 3 areas. We break it down into, on a graph, it would be sort of time to get the data versus accuracy. We're looking first and foremost to get as much data as possible and as much emissions automated, and then looking further and further on how we can make that more accurate.
Okay, and maybe another question. Who is your client? Is it the lender who provide the financing, or is it SME?
Yes, so it's our client would be the lender. So they have a problem in that they need to, under regulations in the EU and beyond, to measure all of the customers that they lend to, regardless of green lending or not. And so that's kind of problem A that we solve, and problem B is how to actually deploy the capital. So that's where we sort of offer our value to the lending businesses.
Got it. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
Tim?
Yeah, all right. Never sure about the order.
Just always feel free to jump in whenever you've got a question, folks.
Okay, sweet. Thank you. Thanks so much for the pitch. Really, really interesting case. I'm wondering a bit, where exactly do the SMEs come in? So are the SMEs in some way connected to you, or is the bank coming to you like, hey, we want to give out green loans? And then you said you use these 20 different softwares like accounting tools. So do you get kind of the data from the accounting tools, which SMEs have done an assessment, and then you can provide that to the bank, or do you connect to both, or how exactly does how are you exactly the middleman?
Yeah, it's an important question. So we sell directly into banks and lending companies. They distribute our product directly to small businesses, where once they sign up, they can then connect their accounting software. So we know roughly around 10% of small businesses have measured their emissions. So it's quite formidable challenge within that for them. And so we have to streamline that process. And then within the platform, we have to embed that banking partner that we're working with, their green loan function, to give them a view. So it's a nice system in that a company can see, and a lot of our research has shown this actually, a small business can see their emissions, see if they took out a green loan for something like solar panels, they can see the exact amount of energy and emissions that they would save every year from taking out that. So we have a nice system in which we can facilitate both, and sort of a win-win-win for all parties involved.
Okay, so basically I'm an SME and I approach the bank like, hey, I want a green loan, and then the bank is kind of telling me, hey, we actually have this SaaS tool implemented, we can actually do the measurement for you, and then you are able to apply for the green loan.
Exactly, and I think just to add to that as well, a bank currently has that challenge where they need to measure all of their small business emissions for all of their lending products. So our platform will get distributed to all of their small business customers, and that's where we will also look at how we can facilitate green lending in the future with them. But also in that specific use case you're talking about, how they can, if they say I'm looking for a green loan, then our platform does the exact same thing.
All right, okay, and then who's your like buying persona at the bank? Like I'm just imagining these like old-fashioned German banks in my head that, of course, there's a transition, but like how easy is it, and who do you talk to actually get that done?
We're very lucky to be part of the MasterCard Start Path program. So half of our leads have come directly in from that program itself, and it's given us quite a lot of power to get in, which is great, and nice facilitation of those introductions. In terms of who we speak with, it can vary. Our probably core persona is someone involved in finance or lending, so head of lending. Secondary persona, which we see quite a lot more, is either climate finance or ESG lending, anything around sort of sustainability within there. And I think the third one is around partnerships or innovation. So it's quite a new area. I think it's a tough one to crack from their point of view. And so there are kind of three personas that we would work with.
Yeah, cheers. I'll be really curious to see also with like Doconomy and Ecolytic, maybe there's like a good like integration there, because I think they have a bit of a similar, like different focus, but they're also like a SaaS tool for banks. So maybe there's a partnership there.
Tie up. For sure, yeah. I mean, we've spoken to them in the past, and yeah, I think there's probably something one day to understand that. But yeah, I agree.
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you.
And Avina.
Hi, Jack.
Hi.
Thanks for the presentation. I want to ask about your pricing point and monetization strategy. I think you're doing quite a number of products, right, from the monitoring up to the green loan. So how are you monetizing each one of them?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. For us, we generate our revenue directly from banks and lending companies. We're charging based on a per company measured basis. So that's where we would start. And our product is free for the small business to use. So that's where we sit in today, helping to measure those emissions. And that's where we generate the bulk of our revenue. In the future, what we'll be doing is generating additional referral fees from the loans that we help to facilitate. That will come into place in the next sort of 6 to 12 months is where we would see that. So it's quite a new area also, but today it's generated directly from the bank.
What about service provider referral fees? So you connect them with people that can install the solar, then you get referral fees on both sides.
Yeah, very interesting. I think that is another part of that, where the challenge also for a company is how to actually set up their solar panels that they're going to be using the loan for. I think that's something that we will be looking into as well. I think it's a problem that we'll look at down the line first and foremost. But yeah, it's a great point.
Or you just pre-suggested to them, hey, your emissions numbers don't look great. You could add rooftop solar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry, Avina, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. Definitely interesting. Add rooftop solar and get the bank finance for it. So, what is your pricing point actually for the bank? I'm wondering, how much you charge the bank to calculate emission for one company, for example.
Yeah, it would range. So we're looking really at the small business market that they have with their customers. We're sort of estimating anywhere from a minimum of 50,000 right up to 250 based on the total number of customers that they would have. So we're aiming for quite a large enterprise market today. We will have a facilitation of a price point for smaller companies with smaller customers that they have, but anywhere from sort of £2 to £10 per year per customer is what we're looking at. Customer measured.
Okay. And my last question related to green loans, right? I guess, what are the banks looking at in terms of, green loans, checklist, basically, in terms of how you can fit your solutions into the green loan, the green lending, essentially, because it's not just how much emissions, right, basically, that they would be looking at.
Yeah, it's a very important point. I think one of the things that really excites us is that the sustainability linked loans, which is a specific area of the market, and these are loans that if a company starts to reduce their emissions over a number of years and they hit their targets, then they get lower and lower interest rates there. So that's very easy, or not too much of a challenge for a big company who has measured their emissions and has a team, but it's impossible for a small business. So we sync that data actually on a daily basis to understand what their emissions are over time, and so we can actually facilitate that market itself. I think specifically to the question you're asking around not just the green lending and their emissions, but also what they're using the funds for, I think is an important question. And I think we can start to see that potentially by the drop in their emissions over time also.
And potentially offer loans for them to then be able to qualify for carbon credits with the projects they're then doing, if you want to really eat your cake and have it too, so to speak.
Yeah, I think the thing that we're very excited about in this market is that there are so many opportunities to potentially use the data, to understand it, to help small businesses, to connect them in with different services. I think that vision exists for us. We kind of want to be that integrator and that facilitator over the next few years. But I think we're very focused on our core problem to date, which is around the banking sector and helping to measure small business loans and helping them to access these green loans for that market.
So when it smells too good to be true, it probably is. What's the hard part here? What's the problem? What are we missing?
I think the hard part is actually how to do this at scale. The first question from Matthias is around how do we get the accuracy of that data? And I think that's why I sort of went into that plan around. We know that if a small business gets sent a form to say, fill in what your emissions are, the uptake is so low, given that they don't have the time, the budget, or the resources. So we've gone down this automated route where we say, okay, we want to get all of that emissions data first. It might not be the most accurate way, but it certainly is the fastest way to get that company set up. The big challenge, the kind of secret sauce for us, is how we continue to gain more and more accuracy with that automation.
Awesome, thank you.
Jack, may I ask a follow-up question, please? To what extent are you also working with regulators to make sure they are, in fact, comfortable with what you're doing, and to also make sure that the lenders can be confident that if they engage with your company, that they are really within the regulation that is necessary for them to be able to make loans?
I think I'd break my answer down in two ways. The first is that our methodology still follows all of the international framework and standards to measure emissions. So even for another company, we're still doing it in a way that actually says, like, yes, we are compliant in our emissions gathering and emissions data. I think the second thing is that today, very little exists. It's for banks, they just use an estimate themselves without engaging with the small business. And they just say, okay, we think these emissions are X based on their size and their industry. So we're keeping a very close eye on that regulation. I think the good news for us today is that we're more than compliant and provide more data than the regulations ask for today. But as we continue on and that regulation gets a bit more strict, we're going to be continuing to improve the accuracy of that product. But today it is as compliant as it is in the market, and even more so.
To me, it seems that you want the regulation to become a little bit more strict and better defined, because right now almost anybody can compete with you, and it's still better than doing nothing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think I think it goes beyond even what we want. I think the regulation is going in that area, to be honest. The kind of area of climate finance didn't probably exist 10 years ago, whereas we've seen such a huge acceleration in some of that regulation, and we know that plans are only going to be accelerating as the targets get harder and harder to reach. I think even just separate on that regulation, a lot of these companies that we're working with, banks particularly, have 2030 and 2050 targets that they also are reporting to their shareholders every year. So even if that regulation doesn't, they still have a target that they need to hit.
Good, interesting.
Thank you.
I have a last question.
Avina.
Actually, just for fun. Why is the name DODO?
That's a good one. I meant to ask that as well.
Yeah, I think when we had to think about what we wanted to say through the platform, the dodo, the bird, was the most popular case of where we have had that impact. I think we're probably humanity recognized that we've had such an impact on the world, and this sort of symbol of extinction. And we wanted to have that to kind of draw on the sand to say, like, we don't want that to happen. We want to have a positive force, coupled with the fact that it's a 4-letter name, which always helps in the startup world. I think was our secondary reason.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Jack. And then we've got one last awesome company, certainly not least of the night. Farmaissance. I hope I'm saying it right. Jennifer and Gary are here, and they're revolutionizing vegan leather in a cool way that actually looks and feels awesome. Coming to us from Hong Kong now, right, guys?
That's correct. Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Let me know when you guys are ready. You should be able to share your screen. You can tell us a little bit more about everything you're doing in fashion and auto, and blow the crowd away. Sound good?
That sounds good.
So I'll just play the. You see the screen?
Not yet. Still you guys.
Sorry. I need to share here.
3 dots and then share screen, bottom right. Should let you pick a screen, and if not, you can wing it. Don't worry.
I don't, just hold on.
Here, I can pull it up on my screen and share screen, and you can just tell me when to flip through. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome. Here's this guy. Can everybody see the screen?
This is the one I sent you, right?
Yeah.
But this is a long. We prepare a small one, Can I send you right now by email so you can share?
It might take a while. Try just sending it. You can either tell me just to skip the slides, or you can just do it without the presentation in the background. Whichever you prefer.
Maybe I just sent you right now. Okay, just hold on. I sent you my phone. Easier. Sorry, but because we prepare, it's really interesting project, So, and then okay. Just wait,
Can you email that to me here quickly then? And while we're waiting for this, in a short interlude. Yeah,
just hold on.
just send it to my email there. And while we're waiting for this in a short interlude, folks, this is the startup tank. This, of course, is technology, startups, venture capital. Sometimes we're duct taping things together, and this would be one of those examples. To find out more about us and what we do, visit thestartuptank.com. And if you're a company looking to raise, forward.vc. Our climate syndicate's got a VC database, 750 plus climate funds, incubators, accelerators, CVCs. You can filter that by stage, sector, geography, and sector size, and that's just at forward.vc, the number forward.vc/VC database. We've got a Slack community in there as well for investors, and another one for founders. So if you're looking to connect with other people in the space, that is the best place to do it.
I am trying to set up maybe use your screen, use your file first, because my file is very big. I have a video for you, which is
okay. We're gonna go with the file that I've got already on file, and you can tell me which slides to skip.
Yeah.
And now we are going to start sharing, and give me 1 second to get this full screened, and then you are on the clock. Tell me when you want me to click through.
Okay, click through to the next one if you can. This is the structure of the company. If you just go past this one. Okay. Our technology uses biometrics, biotechnology, and advanced manufacturing processes. The goal is to complete R&D to produce a unique, sustainable bio-based material that can replace leather and PU, and is a material of choice for a cross-section of industries: automotive, cars, trucks, aeroplanes, fashion and furniture, etc. Sorry, if you just bear with us a second longer.
I mean, you could just do the pitch without the presentation in the background as well. We just want to know what the company's about.
If you just give me 1 second. You just bring up
my one.
Yeah.
Because we never shared the screen before, so sorry. I'm using the other computer to do it actually, but this one is I have to.
Okay, let's go. We have two websites, ifarmaissance.com and ifarmbrands.com. Tonight I'll focus on the innovative materials research. The product we're delivering is a bio-based synthetic leather alternative to the natural leather and PU. It's a hybrid of currently available traditional synthetic PU, plastic, and renewable substitute leather alternatives. It's a biofabricated with an input of corn and grains processed by microorganisms to bio-nylon, which forms the feedstock resource. It's a science-based solution using biomimetrics and synthetic biocellular engineering and biopolymers to produce a leather substrate, and nanotechnology for surface modification. It's a proximity-based solution close to the largest market at abundant feedstock resources. It fits into the category of biosynthetic, biofabricated materials and biofabricated ingredients. What problem are we solving? Scientific research indicates most leather alternatives rely on either toxic chemical additives or the addition of a textile backing. Studies we've examined, it was determined that all tested materials emitted volatile organic compounds. The study examined the structure and composition of each material. None of the leather alternatives showed the universal performance of leather. Still, natural leather remains the benchmark against which we measure performance. PU delivers on cost, but with consequent environmental issues, and renewables are best validated by full LCAs. The key challenges of renewables: complex extraction processes, low biomass content, poor physical properties, cost, and reproducibility and uniformity of growth. We address those key challenges with a simplified process, improved product aesthetic, and cost 50 to 75% of natural leather, and parity to PU plastics. Our solution is biosynthetics combining green chemistry, delivering lower prices. Product manufacturing requires a simple factory refit that uses advanced manufacturing processes in conjunction with uniquely designed cast tape drying machines, which will deliver continuous product sheets.
1 minute.
Why us? The biggest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it. Our partners, City University of Hong Kong, Hong Kong RITA, Hong Kong ITF, and Cathay Biotech. We're addressing SDGs 12, 13, 17, and 9, and pervasively biodiversity, oceans, water use, and toxic chemicals. It's a circular economic model, full cradle-to-cradle circularity. We have 2 projects, one focused on the upholstery industry with the highest possible standards for UV resistance and flammability, which is the bio-nylon feedstock. We will own the patent and IP that emerges 100%. The total available market is the total natural leather, PU, and renewables market, 400 billion. Available market, vegan leather market accelerating at much greater CAGR, particularly Asia, 89 billion by 2.
And your time is up. Your time is up.
Yes.
Okay, let me bring in the other panelists. I mean, the first kind of most obvious thing is just for the future to have that work and functional would be pretty needed for investor pitches in the future. The technology actually looks pretty interesting from what I've seen from our discussions, but it was very hard to follow from the pitch. Avina, do you want to start things off?
Sorry, it was a little bit difficult to follow, but I think would like to ask about, the technology itself, right? How do you make the vegan leather? And what sets you apart compared to others who are making, similar technology as well?
Well, it's based on science, bringing together biotechnology, synthetic biotechnology from microorganisms, from working on corn and grains to develop a leather substrate, which is very similar to leather. A lot of the other competitors in the marketplace actually have a biomass structure on top of a textile base. We are actually producing the whole substrate of the product. Okay.
Does that improve the quality somehow of the product?
Yes, of course. Because in the market, actually, the vegan leather, which is for biodegradable, actually, which is only 2 in the market, which is Mycelium, also the mushroom, and then also Mirum in USA. But they are actually is flammable, and then they are for automotive, but they are not. They cannot for public transport because they can be used for private car, but it's not for public transport because they are flammable. But our product, our leather is inflammable. And actually, I prepare the video to show you 5 seconds. They can stop. When you burn it, 5 seconds. The vegan leather will stop flaming, something like that. Yeah, and also we are doing 100% bio-based, but which is in the markets only 2 is 100% bio-based. But this one actually the cost is half than Mirum or Mycelium, at least half. Yeah.
I'm wondering, maybe I missed it in the pitch. Like, what stage are you in right now? So, are you already selling these products? Are you currently developing it, or where exactly are you at?
In the lab side and lab sample at the moment. So we actually, maybe I explain more. This is actually the project I developed, from my final assignment of climate change course of Cambridge, CISL, University of Cambridge. I studied the course in last year, and then I get a final assignment 100%. So that's why, and once I get that mark, that's great. I got my old classmate. My classmate called me, which is a commission of Hong Kong Technology in Innovation and Technology Commission. So she called me, and then I showed the assignment to her, and then she's very interested, and then linked me up to Hong Kong Innovation and Technology Commission, and then also Rita, and then they linked me up to scientists in CTU, City University of Hong Kong. Then they think that is really cool. Then that's why we all together bring it to life, the project. And then, sorry, my English is a little bit slow, okay? And then sorry. And then I link up with ITF. That means I get the fund with Hong Kong, the Hong Kong government, Hong Kong Innovation and Technology Commission. They back me this, and then I tell them that this is my copyright, so that's why I need to have the IP, so they allow me, and then fund me half, Then because the ITC, they only fund the vegan leather for automotive industry. So they are not, because the program is only one category. So that's why they said you should go to Hong Kong Science Park to do the fashion and furniture, that category application. So I also apply for the incubation program at the moment, and then I already passed the DD. And then 2 weeks later, I'm going to have a panel meeting with Hong Kong Science Park, something like that. So actually, we already have the lab sample from CTU University of Hong Kong, and then and then we're starting to make it how to say that pilots, prototype in the Hong Kong Science Park. At the moment, we are, because in the university, and then they have a smaller machine to do the lab test, or the lab sample, but the lab sample already released to me. And actually, I want to show you, but I couldn't share the screen. It's inflammable. That means that when you burn it, they will automatically stop, burning within 5 seconds, which is never
non-flammable.
Non-flammable.
So that's okay.
Inflammable, yeah. So that's why the difference, you asked me, the difference is none of the vegan leather in the world can apply for public transport. If you want to put on the public transport, there's another standard that no one is doing, but we already have tested. A lab sample can do it, Maybe later I can share the pitch deck or the video to Mac, they can show you, And then and also even we only have the lab sample, we already have a lot of people interested in it, and then waiting for the sample I release, to them, and then they place order, something like that. Okay. So, any question you want to ask?
Is leather not flammable? I don't understand why flammability is different between vegan and non-vegan leather.
Because leather and vegan leather in the world is flammable, but our leather is non-flammable. When you burn it, 5 seconds, they will stop burning, So if you, yes. So that's why our vegan leather is really why use it in the public transport. So that's why I'm Chinese, I'm from Hong Kong. So that's why I already present to some big company public transport company in Shenzhen or in China. They are really, really interested in it. They never heard about it.
Is there no leather in public transit because it burns, or is it because it's way more expensive than the alternative?
No, because actually the standard for public transport, the leather for the car seat, the standard for public transport should be non-flammable, but no one can do it at the moment. Leather is flammable. And then also all the other bioleather is flammable. PU, of course, fossil-based is flammable. Okay, so that's why when ITC they put the standard of the project, they said this should be non-flammable. Yeah. So interesting, right?
Yeah, I'm wondering what other tests you do other than flammability. Do you have a life cycle assessment on the product, for example?
Yes.
How is the result?
No, it's in we just starting the R&D at the moment. So if life cycle assessment should be complete, you know, so we're just starting. We just we maybe 1 or 2 months, you know, we just signed the agreement to 1 month ago, you know, but the lab sample we did it before we showed the ITC. I mean, we showed the Technology Commission that we did it already. So that's why we approved to go forward on the project. You know, Hong Kong government, they're not easy to give you that money. You know, you really need to do a lot of things to get that money from the government, but did it already. Yep. Yes.
So there's basically two projects. The first one is the one we have with the Hong Kong University, which has been, we have a contract with them that's a $400,000 project. They've contributed, the government has contributed 200,000. We need to match the funding of that. There's a separate project that's for the automotive industry. The second one is for fashion, furniture, sporting goods. Similar arrangement, 200,000 we're applying with Science Park, a contribution of 200,000 from ourselves. And we're also being assessed by a social impact fund for another $150,000 as well. So we're looking for 1.2 million over the next 18 months, which can be delivered in tranches of 400,000, 400,000 and 400,000.
Yes. And I went to China in June, you know, and, you know, long time, 2 months. And then I already meet a central government-owned enterprise. And then which is the world top 100 in the world. And then they are very, very interested about the technology. And then I said later when we have sample, I will talk to them again, you know. And also I went to, and then also I show the idea to BYD. And then they are very interested also, of course. And then next year, I'm planning to go to China again in March and April to meet them again, you know, something like that. Yeah, and also I am from fashion industry background, and then I already have a big brand and a very big leather distributor. They are in fashion application, you know, because I'm from that industry for, you know, long time. So when I have this project, they automatic weighs up, you know, and they said they want to be a production partner and place the order once I have the sample coming out, you know, something like that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Matthias, do you have a question, or Tim, do you have a question for Jennifer and Gary?
Yeah, I do have 2 questions, 2 short ones, I promise. The first, I understood you were saying you are at the beginning of an R&D phase. How long is this phase going to be? How much more research do you need to do? And the second question, I ask myself a little bit, why are you for me, you're a typical case for non-dilutive funding. Why are you talking to VCs? What do you expect from VCs other than capital?
Yeah, okay, so we got 2 projects. Okay, one is funded by ITC. Okay, ITF. Okay, that one, the sample is by the end of next year. They are not, it is October 2023. I mean the sample. Okay, I mean all up to standard everything up to public transport standard. Okay, so the second project, which is by Hong Kong Science Park, we are budget to have it in April 2023. Okay, and then so this is the time, because for the fashion one, it's much easier, very easy to do it, so it's not very difficult because it's filmable one. Then why we want to have a VC, so he has to talk.
Well, basically, we just try to get this initial capital to get to the next step, if you like. We have to go through that 18-month period to get to the next stage. So we have to be able, we've spent a lot of money to get to this particular point in terms of, we've taken the route of examining the market and making sure that we've got a viable market for what we're doing as well. So it's important that we stage the capital injections to cover that 18-month period.
Yeah, at the moment we are using our own money, so we would like to invite investor to join together. I already spent like 2 years to build this everything. So that's why I think it's time to invite investor to join us. Yeah.
And speaking of investors, Tim, do you have one question for the team?
I know, not really. I think also it's going to be really interesting just to see for you guys on the funding side. I think there's a lot of potential, like Matthias already mentioned, like for non-dilutive funding. Let's say regulation comes in that public transport, the leather needs to be non-flammable, for example, then probably there will be big budget. So I think it's going to be a difficult sell right now for like VCs, since you're still in the R&D stage, but really very exciting project. I'm really curious to see where it goes. No specific question right now, but I think super exciting project. Congratulations.
Awesome. Then thanks, Jennifer and Gary, for presenting. I would move things on to the last segment of the night, which is the startup of the night, where we as kind of panelists need to come up with our favorite 1-2 companies, see if we can crown a champion. And for that, just if you go kind of say which company, 2 companies you're most interested in, why, who you'd want to send up potentially follow-up meetings, or where you see the biggest potential. And then we can see if we come to some type of consensus. Does anyone want to go first, volunteers or victims?
I can just start. I think I mean, overall, thanks so much to everyone. I think it was really great pitches. I think I was most impressed by both DODO and Palau. I think I'm also a big fan of data plays. So I think really exciting there, really clear kind of mode, like defensibility on the tech side, on the data side. And also really strong team. I think DODO, the founding team, was really impressive. So I just quickly checked you guys all out. I would probably vote DODO, and second place Palau.
From my perspective, if I have 2 votes, I would like to give both my votes to DODO. I think they are really good.
Okay, I concur. Actually, I think DODO, very exciting project that you're doing, and very impressive founder as well. So all the best, as you go through this journey and scaling up sustainable finance and scaling up carbon accounting for a lot of the MSMEs.
And it looks like we have a sweep. I'm not generally a huge fan of companies that are more pain pills that are more vitamins than pain pills on the software and reporting side of things, but I was very impressed with what you guys have done. I find it very interesting, the unlocks that you can create for SMEs, especially as you grow and scale, and can then help them with more suggestions to improve while also getting them the funding to then do that. That I would see as kind of the company or the startup of the night. All the companies that presented did an incredible job. Everyone has awesome businesses, big potential. And of course, the goal of this is go out there and prove us wrong. But we want to see major success from everybody who's presenting, because we're all on Team Planet, so to speak. As we start to wrap things up, I want to give each of our panelists a second to, where's the best place for people to find you? Say, hey, what are you looking for? Matthias, you want to take it away?
Sure. So you can find us on our website. The name is basically Mighty Capital. And you can find myself on LinkedIn. My name again is Matthias Weber, and I'm a partner of Mighty Capital.
Awesome. And Tim?
Well, so first of all, I'm just going to add all of you on LinkedIn. So I think that's always the easiest. But you can also find us at Climate and then just the letter U. If you just Google that, you'll find it, climateu.earth. Just really, if you're looking for investors, if you're looking to connect with other founders or even hiring for certain positions, then feel free to reach out. It's an open source database, so feel free to add your funding rounds, add your open positions, look for investors. More than welcome to just send a message if you have any questions.
Awesome. And Avina?
Yes, for us, we are reachable on our website, east.vc, because we are primarily on the east side of the world here. And for me, you can find me on LinkedIn at Avina Sujarto.
Awesome. And then I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I'm Matt Ward, your host of the Startup Tank. I'm also climate lead at Forward VC. Our accredited investor syndicate invests in the most promising early stage climate companies, really solving big, hard, real world problems. We do pre-seed and seed. To find out more about us, none of this is solicitation, but if you want to come on over and say hi and see what we do in our accredited investor syndicate, we're at 4Ward, so the number 4, Ward, WARD.VC. We invest in companies that move the world forward, like some of the companies you see here. And all of this has been presented to you guys by Valbon by Carta, who we use and love to set up our SPVs when we're bringing together our 170, I think 180 now LPs at this point. It's a lot of paperwork and headache and everything that goes into it. And we love that Carta can help us do that. And we don't have to handle all of the hand holding and AYC. I can't even speak tonight. Sorry, it's getting too late. Handle all of that, those kind of things on the paperwork side. We can get entities set up, capital deployed, invest in great companies, great founders, and help them change the world. Speaking of, if you're one of those folks and you want to apply, thestartuptank.com to pitch here in front of other great investors. We've got sessions coming up November 7th, 21st, December 5th, etc. Be sure to hit the subscribe bell if you're on YouTube. We're also on LinkedIn, all your major podcasting platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcast, etc. And if you go to this is a special bonus. If you go to our website, forward.vc, we've got a database of 750 plus climate funds, incubators, accelerators, corporate VCs. You can search by sector, stage, geography, check size. So if you're a Mexican pre-seed startup that's doing something in ag tech, you can find the exact right investor for you. Again, forward.vc, you'll find that all there, our Slack, and you can connect with other players in the space. Until next time, this has been another filming of the Startup Tank, and I hope you guys go out there and change the world for the better. Cheers.